वेलकम टू कॉन्वर्सेशंस। मैं आपका होस्ट, आपका दोस्त मुख्तदर खान, और आज मेरे साथ एक बहुत ही डिस्टिंग्विश्ड स्टेट्समैन है, मुशाहिद हुसैन सैयद। ये पाकिस्तान के इंफॉर्मेशन मिनिस्टर भी रह चुके हैं, कई साल पाकिस्तान के सेनेटर थे, दैट टू फ्रॉम द कैपिटल ऑफ पाकिस्तान इस्लामाबाद। वो एक डिस्टिंग्विश्ड जर्नलिस्ट रह चुके हैं, डिप्लोमेट है। इन्होंने 3 थिंक टैंक्स एस्टेब्लिश की, इंडिया पाकिस्तान चाइना इंस्टीट्यूट, पाकिस्तान अफ्रीका इंस्टीट्यूट, और अभी भी ही इज सॉर्ट ऑफ द स्पीकर ऑन द ग्लोबल स्टेज पाकिस्तान के लिए। वो बोलते हैं, टॉक्स अबाउट द ग्लोबल साउथ, और मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली ही इज ऑल्सो होया, यानी वो मेरी तरह जॉर्ज टाउन यूनिवर्सिटी के इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस के स्टूडेंट रह चुके हैं। तो मुशाहिद साहब, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग कॉन्वर्सेशन, और बहुत बहुत खुशामदीद आपको।
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab. Greetings to all your viewers from Pakistan. What a pleasure and delight to be on your show, Conversation. I'm an old fan of yours. I've been following you very closely. आपने बड़ा काम किया है in the battle of narratives. You've always pursued your narrative with logic, creativity, facts, and wisdom without any agenda. So I feel that living in the United States, you have an outreach to the rest of the global South, which is quite a unique achievement, by the way.
Thank you, Mushahid Saab. So, I want to get into it right away. My first question is, does Pakistan have a grand strategy? और सुनने वालों को मैं बता दूं कि जो मैं आसान तरीके से ग्रैंड स्ट्रैटेजी का मतलब समझाता हूं अपने स्टूडेंट्स को, कि आप बड़े होकर क्या बनोगे। दैट इज द वे टू आस्क कि आप बड़े होकर क्या बनोगे और कैसे बनोगे। तो फॉर एग्जांपल, इंडिया के प्राइम मिनिस्टर कहते हैं कि 2047 तक इंडिया विल बिकम ए विकसित भारत, यानी उनका कहना है कि इंडिया विल बिकम ए हाई इनकम इकोनॉमी बाय 2047। ये इनका ग्रैंड स्ट्रेटेजिक गोल है, और हासिल करने के कई स्ट्रेटजीज हैं। आजकल थोड़ा केओस में है वो स्ट्रेटेजी। तो इस तरह से क्या पाकिस्तान की कोई ग्रैंड स्ट्रेटेजी है कि बड़ा होकर क्या बनेगा पाकिस्तान?
मेरे ख्याल में बड़ा तो अब हो गया है माशाल्लाह। और अब the feeling is that Pakistan's time has come and Pakistan has arrived in the field of diplomacy, the field of defense, and also in terms of economic connectivity. हमारा रोल जो ना आप देख लें, for example, recently we were the center stage of global diplomacy. Iran, US के जो हमने कराया, which was a sort of action replay of what we did 50 years ago with China and the United States. So Pakistan, the way it was created by the Quaid-e-Azam, and his vision was that Pakistan has a larger than life role. Pakistan was not just a land which just created a state. It was an idea, an ideology that created a nation state with geographical boundaries in the most strategic part of the world. और उसमें आपने देखा कि पाकिस्तान का हमेशा एक रोल रहा है which is broader. For example, there's a pan-Islamist vision जो कायद-ए-आज़म अल्लामा इकबाल का था, which other leaders have pursued. Then there's a regional vision where we belong, South Asia as well as Central Asia. And then, of course, we have as part, we have a globalist country with a 10 million diaspora. So we have an outreach to both East and the West. हमारा एक बड़ा यूनिक रोल है। एक तरफ हमारी यारी दोस्ती बीजिंग से है, चाइना से है, दूसरी तरफ हमारा बड़ा स्ट्रॉन्ग इंटीग्रेशन और लिंकेज है विद द वेस्ट from Washington to London. So एक पाकिस्तान का एक broader role है. So we are now emerging as a major middle power in the heart of Asia, and we will be playing that role. और वो role उसके एक तो हमने जो defend किया पाकिस्तान को against Indian aggression, the way we did it, which showed that size does not equal strength, and right is might, not might is right. India tried to impose its bullying tactics on Pakistan. फिर हमने डिप्लोमेसी में अपना एक प्रॉमिस शो की, what the UN couldn't do, what the European Union couldn't do, what the OIC couldn't do, what the Arab League couldn't do. We brought Tehran and Washington together, their leadership for the first time in 47 years in the same room, in the same city, the same country, and got them talking to each other face to face for 21 hours straight. It is, I think, quite a remarkable achievement जो पाकिस्तान ने की, and both sides, President Trump in Washington DC and the Iranian government in Tehran, from the supreme leader downwards, they all trust and have faith and confidence in Pakistan. And plus, Pakistan now is also the hub of regional connectivity, economy, energy, ports, pipelines, road, railways, Central Asia, South Asia, China, Gulf, and West Asia. So Pakistan is in a pivotal position, and Pakistan is now ready for that role, and we are playing that role slowly but surely.
So मतलब इसमें कोई शक की बात नहीं है. योर रेफरेंस टू द 1970s, जब कहते हैं कि किसिंजर पाकिस्तान गया था और बीमार हो गया था, बट एक्चुअली ही वाज विजिटिंग चाइना, इफ यू रिमेंबर.
He said he had Delhi belly.
So yes, Pakistan has played a great diplomatic role. लेकिन अगर आप फॉर एग्जांपल पाकिस्तान को बांग्लादेश के साथ कंपेयर करते हैं सिंस 1971, तो आप देखते हैं कि बांग्लादेश की जीडीपी आपसे 1000 से ज्यादा हो गई है. एट वन टाइम बांग्लादेश वाज पुअरर देन पाकिस्तान, नाउ बांग्लादेश लुक्स रिचर देन पाकिस्तान. सो यस, डिप्लोमेटिकली पिछले 2-3 साल से खासतौर से पाकिस्तान इज प्लेइंग वेरी की रोल. बोर्ड ऑफ पीस में भी पाकिस्तान है, जहां गाजा को लेकर, और फिर ईरान में तो इट इज प्लेइंग अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. इसमें कोई शक की बात नहीं है. बट डोमेस्टिकली अगर आप देखें तो आपकी इकोनॉमी अपीयर्स टू बी मतलब इन क्वाइट द शैम्बल्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ डेट क्राइसिस, और फिर डोमेस्टिक जो इनसिक्योरिटीज है. आपकी 4+2 प्रोविंसेस हैं, जिसमें से 3 प्रोविंसेस में ऐसा लग रहा है कि कम से कम इंसर्जेंसी है. मैं आपके जनरल चौधरी साहब को सुन रहा था, जो डीजी ISPR है. उन्होंने कहा कि इंटेलिजेंस बेस्ड 40,000 ऑपरेशन उन्होंने किए हैं 2026 में. सोचिए आप 7 महीने में अगर आपके इंटेलिजेंस सिक्योरिटी इज डूइंग 40,000 ऑपरेशंस. मुझे बड़ी शक हुई कि व्हाई डिड ही इवन डिस्क्लोज इट पब्लिकली. दैट शोज कि कंट्री में कितना टेंशन है, दैट यू हैव टू डू 40,000 काउंटर टेररिज्म ऑपरेशंस. सो हाउ डू यू बैलेंस के इंटरनेशनली हीरो बट एट होम जीरो?
जीरो तो मैं नहीं कहूंगा. आई थिंक वी आर गोइंग थ्रू डिफिकल्ट ट्रांजिशन. देखो जी, हमारी लोकेशन है. इफ यू वर इन द साउथ पैसिफिक, it was Papua New Guinea or Vanuatu or Nauru, बड़ा अच्छा सुकून से रहते. If we were in part of some of the other areas जहाँ बड़ा सुकून है, बड़े आराम से. We are in a very strategic part of the world which has been in turmoil for the last 30-40 years. 1979 से तो ये एरिया सेटल नहीं हुआ, and Pakistan has been in the eye of the storm. बल्कि आप देखें कि हमारे सामने मुल्क टूटे हैं. Soviet Union broke up. Iran में revolution आया. Afghanistan has been through several rounds of conflict. Sri Lanka में civil war हुई. India में 17 insurgencies हैं. लेकिन हमारे लोगों, और उससे पहले 71 में तो पाकिस्तान 2 लफ्त हो गया because of the aggression by India and the Soviet Union. So हमारे लोगों में एक resilience है, एक inner strength है इस मुल्क में. Which then we are able to bounce back. Yes, it's a very difficult situation, but Alhamdulillah, we do manage to go through that. Abhi ek aur period aaya hai, and sometimes our neighborhood is not the most peaceful of neighborhood. We are having those difficulties. So I would say that there is a disconnect. To major disconnect ye hai कि there's a gulf between the elite and the street in Pakistan, because there has been an elite capture in Pakistan, unfortunately, economy-wise. And I've been one of the biggest critics of that also, because I feel that, for example, going to the IMF, not restructuring your economy, not having policies that can put you on your own feet as giving you economic independence rather than dependence on outside props like the IMF. So both those difficulties there, but I would say that given our context, our roles, our relationships, and in these times when there's been a huge turbulence and transformation in our part of the world. Actually, Dr. Saab, it reminds me of Lenin saying, there are decades when nothing happens, and then there are weeks when decades happen. So we are going through that phase.
Through the phase.
Pakistan is at center stage. वो तो शुक्र है कि हमारे यहाँ कोई और collapse नहीं हुआ, implosion नहीं हुई 9/11 के बाद या end of the Cold War के बाद. We held it together. हालांकि we were on the front lines of all these developments. So I see the glass is half full. I feel the glass is half full, and we are going to turn the corner, but we'll have to take a major course correction, and that course correction starts at home, especially on the economy and also in the polity.
देखिए, जब इंडिया से बात करता हूं मैं ऑन स्ट्रेटेजिक इश्यूज, तो जो शरीफ लोग हैं इंडिया में वो मुझे कहते हैं कि इंडिया के 2.5 फ्रंट्स हैं. तो एक फ्रंट चाइना है, एक फ्रंट पाकिस्तान है, एंड द हाफ फ्रंट इज डोमेस्टिक टेररिज्म या इंसर्जेंसी. दे ऑफन एट्रीब्यूट दैट टू पाकिस्तान. लेकिन जो बदमाश लोग हैं वो कहते हैं कि भाई 2.5 मीन्स पाकिस्तान, चाइना एंड ऑल द मुस्लिम्स इनसाइड इंडिया. वो उसको हाफ फ्रंट लगा दिया है. सो बट व्हाट इज टू मी स्टार्टलिंग इज नाउ आपका भी वही सिचुएशन हो गया है कि यू ऑल्सो हैव लाइक ए 2.5 फ्रंट प्रॉब्लम. एक तरफ इंडिया है, एक तरफ तालिबान है, बीच में टीटीपी आ गया है. सो इट इज लाइक यू आर ऑल्सो फेसिंग द थ्रेट ऑफ 2.5 फ्रंट. तो आपके ये जो डिप्लोमेटिक अचीवमेंट सक्सेसेस हैं, लाइक नाउ यू बीइंग इनवाइटेड टू हैव सिक्योरिटी गारंटीज विद सऊदी अरेबिया, विद कतर, विद कुवैत, प्ले अ रोल इन गाजा, एंड डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के तो आप तो गो टू गाय बन गए हैं फॉर नेगोशिएशंस इन द मिडिल ईस्ट. तो ये जो सक्सेसेस है, हाउ आर दे ट्रांसलेटिंग इनटू डीलिंग विद दीज चैलेंजेस आपके, फॉर एग्जांपल आपके खुद के सिक्योरिटी चैलेंजेस?
आई वुड से कि थोड़ा सा फर्क है. आपने जो इंडिया की बात की, इंडिया के जो इश्यूज हैं दे आर सेल्फ इन्फ्लिक्टेड, सेल्फ क्रिएटेड, because India is frankly the bully on the block in our region. India has been trying to throw its weight around, and India के किसी neighbor के साथ, whether big neighbor like China or small neighbors like Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Maldives and Bangladesh, अच्छे ताल्लुकात नहीं है because of their mindset, their attitude and so forth. तो उनके जो problems हैं, they are self-inflicted wounds, self-created. हमारे यहाँ जरा जो है the external factor has been paramount, and उसमें जो आपने बात की insurgencies की भी, at least the two of them, one from our western front and one from the eastern front, they have external sponsorship and external roots. So जो destabilization है, it's not from within, it's from outside, and we have to cope with that. So थोड़ा सा challenge मुख्तलिफ है. And then Pakistan is also sometimes paying the price of being the only Muslim nuclear power, because somehow these things rankle. We live in a world where religion, race are often factors in how people view a certain situation or a certain country.
देखिए, अगर आप 1960s एंड 1960s में जब एशियन टाइगर्स का जिक्र आता था, so people used to talk about Hong Kong and Singapore in Asia. बहुत धूम चल रही थी इनकी ग्रोथ की. After Japan's rise, Hong Kong is rising, South Korea is rising. तो ये अगर आप 60s का लिटरेचर कंपैरेटिव पॉलिटिक्स में पढ़ें तो बहुत चर्चा होती थी. और यहाँ पर देयर वाज दिस डिस्कशन के एशियन टाइगर्स में पाकिस्तान और इजिप्ट का भी नाम आता था ऑन द इन द वेस्ट एशिया साइड ऑफ इट, राइट? तो 60s में 70s में आपकी ग्रोथ रेट्स वेर अराउंड 99% के करीब भी चले जाते थे, पाकिस्तान के भी. सो व्हेन यू लुक्ड एट पाकिस्तान इन द 60s एंड 70s में 80s तक, इट वाज ए रिचर, perhaps richer than even India in terms of GDP per capita, growth prospects, diplomatic relations बेहतर थे वेस्ट के साथ. अब वैसा नहीं लगता. So what has happened कि क्या पाकिस्तान का जो over excessive focus on Kashmir या geopolitics has made them drop the ball on domestic governance? आपने खुद एक किताब भी लिखी है on Pakistan governance. Is there
actually that was the first book on governance in Pakistan, 1993 की.
हाँ बिल्कुल. You are like the father of good governance in Pakistan. तो मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा था कि because मैं ये चीजें पढ़ाता हूँ गवर्नेंस इन साउथ एशिया, एंड इट इज डिफिकल्ट टू एक्सप्लेन बोथ इजिप्ट का भी केस और आपका भी केस विदाउट नेसेसरली एट्रीब्यूटिंग इट टू द मेडलिंग ऑफ द आर्मी इन गवर्नेंस इश्यूज. के भाई एक चीज जो कॉमन नजर आती है दोनों में कि ना सिर्फ गवर्नेंस के मामले में फौज का इन्वॉल्वमेंट होता है, इकोनॉमी में भी फौज का इन्वॉल्वमेंट आ जाता है. So how do you explain, मतलब जब आप domestically policies वगैरह बनाते हैं कि how you're falling behind on domestic governance issues? अगर आप आपका बजट ही ले लें, 63 बिलियन था पिछले साल का, जिसमें से तकरीबन 1/3 is going away in debt servicing, which is huge. सोचिए आप, फिर उसके बाद आपका ऑफिशियल डिफेंस बजट is 15% डोनाल्ड ट्रंप लटक गए हैं यूरोप को कहते हुए कि 2% 3% करे। वो चीटिंग करते हैं सारे, मतलब दे प्ले अकाउंटिंग गेम्स टू से कि वी हैव रीच 2% टारगेट, वी आर ट्राइंग टू रीच 5%, बट आप तो 15% के ऊपर डिफेंस बजट, लाइक हाउ डू यू, like how can you fix these things from a developmental point of view?
इजिप्ट का थोड़ा सा फर्क है जी कि Egypt has been at peace since 1979 after the Camp David Accords.
जी हाँ.
Or Egypt has got the full blessings, support of the Western world, of the international community based in the West, especially Washington. I mean, उनका तो फिक्स्ड है कि $2-3 billion a year Washington से आता है. कोई उनकी लड़ाई किसी से नहीं है बाहर के मुल्क से. उनको बाहर के मुल्क से कोई थ्रेट नहीं है अब for the last 40. So their case is a bit different. So उनके causes और हैं. पाकिस्तान के दो चीजें बड़ी. एक तो हमने अपनी जो गलती की, the flawed Afghan policy, and I've been, as you know, a big critic of that. I was the editor of the Muslim, and even during the days of the Afghan war, I went to the Kabul and Afghanistan and even talked to the pro-Soviet regime people. I felt कि ये इसके disaster होगा ना. It was I who coined the term culture of Kalashnikovs. Face करेंगे हम as a blowback, and unfortunately, I was proven correct. और अफगान क्वैगमार ने हमें सिंक कर दिया. गलत पॉलिसी थी. It was based on wrong premises, false assumptions, and we paid a heavy price for that. And we finally tried to extricate ourselves from the Afghan quagmire. इसलिए थोड़ी सी हमें आजादी मिली. एक तो वो था. So I think that कश्मीर का तो खैर different है. कश्मीर का तो it's an international dispute under international law. We didn't create it. India created it, and we are abiding by the United Nations resolutions which seek the right of self-determination for the people of Kashmir. दूसरा हुआ कि हमारे internally ये एक somehow हमारी उसमें failure है, I would say collective failure of the political class, that we couldn't formulate rules of the game among themselves. So उसमें फिर बारी-बारी होता गया, tit for tat, and I think I call it my term is political tribalism. So you're stuck in that. The mindset is almost winner take all, zero sum game approach. और वो unfortunately mindset is still remains the same. तो उसमें काफी एक बड़ा failure हुआ, and the people do feel let down by this kind of thing. And उसके साथ ही फिर elite capture भी आ गया. आर्मी की meddling अपनी जगह है, लेकिन जो political class है, politicians हैं, वो तो अपना रोल अदा कर सकते हैं. After all, despite army meddling or what, some of the major decisions in the history of Pakistan were taken by civilian leadership. The decision, for example, to make the nuclear bomb was taken by a civilian elected prime minister and completed by a civilian elected prime minister. कोई so-called establishment ने कुछ नहीं कहा था. ये other decisions on economic projects, others, motorway बनाना है, क्या करना है, outreach to different countries were taken by politicians with vision. तो लेकिन जब you got involved in so many squabbles and infighting, and then also it became an issue of self-preservation and self-perpetuation. और थोड़ा सा culture of greed भी आ गया, and now it is becoming almost too much of, I think, dynastic influences, where it's the scions of dynasties, and it's about them rather than the people of Pakistan. So that has been the problem. But I feel that don't forget, Dr. Saab, we live in South Asia, and in the last 4 years, 4 South Asian countries have seen popular uprisings, or led by the youth. Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, and India now over this exam thing. So उसमें आपने देखा कि I went to Nepal, उसमें तो लोगों ने घर जला दिए प्राइम मिनिस्टर के. हसीना वाजिद had to flee in a chopper, and Sri Lanka में तो President House was occupied by the people, and in India also the people wanted the education minister to be knocked out in the end, and a very powerful government of Mr. Modi had to relent. So we are not living in an island. We are surrounded by a period of lot of change and anger driven by the youth, and Pakistan also has a similar youth bulge. So if we don't do a course correction, we could well be in the queue to be next. So I always warn up people also. Okay,
you had a taste of it with Imran Khan, ना 3-4 साल पहले तो काफी आपके सड़कों पे लोग थे, प्रोटेस्ट हो रहे थे, मार्च हो रहे थे. ये यूथ बल्ज का जो आपने point raised here, that is a big issue. It is a global problem. In fact, even China has stopped publishing data on youth unemployment. कह रहे हैं कि 15% से ज्यादा हो गया है चाइना में, भारत में भी क्लोज टू 20% है। और एंड यू नो इट
नहीं,
इज
भारत में तो in certain states is almost 40%, स्पेशली
या
आप देखें ना कि
जो
अमेरिका
नॉर्दर्न
में इस
स्टेट्स होगा,
वक्त
जी जी
ये नॉर्दर्न स्टेट, गुजरात, यूपी, बिहार, हरियाणा, पंजाब में तो it's almost 40%, and these are the people who are now the third largest illegal migrant community in the United States after Mexico and El Salvador. The largest
बिल्कुल।
illegal community is Indians, about 750,000. So
In
you
fact,
know
they're coming
it's
a large
a
percentage of them coming from Modi's home state of Gujarat.
yes, Gujarat also. Gujarat,
हाँ,
yes.
गुजरात से
And they're
ज्यादातर
coming
है।
not from by flights, they're coming via Latin America, South America,
Venezuela।
by road. आप देखें कितना they are, it's
तो
desperation, कितना they're driven by such desperation.
तो
So India is shining, India is quite a myth, I must say.
well, yeah, it's a kind of a crisis. For example, not only that, जब भी डॉक्टर जयशंकर को आप सुनते हैं when he talks about free trade agreements, bilateral trade agreements, they use the code word of talent mobility. ये लफ्ज है उनका, talent mobility means jobs दे, हमको jobs दे, हमारे बंदों को। And that's why India now has the biggest diaspora also, तकरीबन 35 million का diaspora है, खुद गल्फ
जी
में 1 crore के करीब है। In fact, not only that, but a lot of well-off Indians prefer to live in Dubai rather than live in India, even though, like I heard Gautam Gambhir saying even Gavaskar lives in Dubai and does not live. Apparently, India से special flights जाते हैं ताकि आप 12 बजे से पहले इंडिया के बाहर हो जाएं to maintain your NRI status and taxes. So a lot of these things are going on, but it is compounded by population explosion. जैसा आपका population तो माशाल्लाह, if you look at it now, if you compare to say Bangladesh, you have 80 million more people now since 1971. तो ये मतलब, is there a plan on how to accommodate 250 million people in an economy which is less than $500 billion, $400 billion के करीब आपकी economy है? So, is there an awareness among the elite, at least, that this is going to be a huge crisis?
now, our economy actually, if you include the informal economy, is almost $1 trillion, which is actually sustaining the people. जो है ना, जिसे वो informal economy कहते हैं, वो is almost equivalent to the formal economy, by the way. And unfortunately, जो आपने बात की, and in Parliament, I had established the first parliamentary forum on population, because the population growth is 2.5 to 2.7% per year. So that's exorbitantly high, and it can't keep up with the economic development. Ab overall planning ho rahi hai. Pehle we had a lot of a tactical approach, but now there is an effort to arrest these issues, but we have to do it as part of a grand strategy, not as a firefighting or a tactical approach, as acting as a fire brigade. So अभी तक तो governments का ये रहा है, unfortunately, proclivity to treat a problem and then move on. But that is why there is a lot of discussion and talk now of major restructuring of the governance system, as well as of the course correction in our political and economic processes. And we have this opportunity because of our global position, regional position, and our outreach to Washington, Beijing, Moscow, Riyadh, Tehran, Ankara, Cairo, that we have a more conducive environment to pursue that, because we'll not be short of cash for that purpose.
Well, it remains to be seen as to what extent. It will be an interesting case study in foreign affairs if we can say that diplomacy transitions to offsets bad governance at home, especially on economic issues.
The bad governance will have to be changed also. It can't be business as usual. Let me tell you that.
So coming to that business as usual,
there are major changes in Pakistan, by the way. But as you will speak, as there are changes in the region, there's a new South Asia, there's a new Middle East, there's a new global order, the G2. There's also going to be changes, I think, major changes in Pakistan also in the offing in the next few months, hopefully.
So it brings me back to the question of good governance. तो इस हफ्ते आपके पास 2 interesting speeches सुनने में आए. एक मोहसिन नकवी साहब की speech. It was fascinating to me to listen to him. And then also, I'll spend some time listening to Najam Sethi interpret Mohsin Naqvi. So for me, when I was listening to Mohsin Naqvi, I realized that at least there's an acknowledgement that your domestic problems and they are becoming untenable, and there seems to be an acknowledgement that we need to fix this. But he was criticizing the system as if he's not part of the system. And my question was, okay, you want accountability, why don't you be the first one to take accountability for the collapsing system and resign, right? Especially given the fact that वो होम मिनिस्टर है ना आपके, वो अमित शाह है आपके. So अगर होम मिनिस्ट्री में के प्रॉब्लम्स दिखा रहे हैं आप, कोलैप्सिंग हो रहे हैं, तो you should be the first to go. But what was interesting to me was listening to Najam Sethi. He interpreted this as saying that, oh, this has nothing to do with Shehbaz Sharif. This is essentially targeting PPP and trying to discipline all the problems that PPP is causing. But जो suggestions उन्होंने किया है provinces वगैरह के and the maps that are floating out, which are not official maps, I think it will create more corruption if you have 16 chief ministers rather than 4 plus 2. And then there'll be more points of corruption and bad governance rather than, I think, I'm not an expert on Pakistan, but I think aapka concentration of power is the problem. If local governments are empowered to raise taxes and solve local problems without the money even going through Islamabad, I think that would probably be the best solution for Pakistan, because the local people know what their problems are and how to deal with it. And if they take responsibility, then they don't blame you all the time. They don't look at Islamabad and saying problem yahan se aa rahi hai, problem locally ho jati hai. So ye jo baat wo devolution ki kar rahe hain, it's not about provinces, it's about the local government raising money and spending it based on their priorities. Am I reading it correctly, sir?
I think you hit the nail on the head. मैं तो हमेशा ये कहता हूँ कि it's not the question on number of provinces. It's the question of efficient governance and devolution. तीन चीजें आपने करनी है. If you do three things, the problem will be at least 70% under control. Number one, we have had devolution from the center to the provinces under the 18th Amendment in 2010. But the real devolution is from the provinces down to the districts with elected district governments. अब कोई प्रॉब्लम अगर होता है मुझे दादू में या जेलम में या इन स्वाबी में या कोई और शहर है कलात में, तो you have to go to the provincial capital, ask the chief minister, उसकी खुशामद करो, उसको लॉबी करो या ब्राइब करो. Elected local governments should decide. They should be the principal stakeholders on key issues. अगर वो devolution कर दें, empower कर दें, all these ये जो governance की बात करते हैं कि bloated bureaucracy sitting in Islamabad, sitting in Lahore, Karachi, Quetta and Peshawar, they are totally waste of time. वैसे भी उनका approach ही है, it's about power, privileges and perks, and they are about the VIP culture. So number one. Number two, appointments, inductions, promotions on merit. ये नहीं कि मेरा बंदा, I want, मैं अगर हूं, I'm a big wig से, and I want मेरा बंदा डिप्टी कमिश्नर हो, मेरा बंदा पुलिस टॉप कॉप हो मेरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट में, not because of merit but सिफारशी culture. And that सिफारशी culture is, I mean, नलायक लोग, corrupt लोग आप लाते हैं. तीसरा है rule of law. Once you have rule of law which applies to everybody, irrespective of rank, status, or family background, then they say nobody's above law. You will have that process. So it's a no-brainer. इसमें कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है. But we have to have the vision and the will to do these things. Or starting with devolution. That is the key thing. Or it's not about more provinces. It's about devolving power from the center and from the provincial capitals down to the grassroots. And we have, I think, about 150 plus 169 जितने भी districts हैं, उसमें आप कर लें. और इसमें एक जमाने में कोशिश की थी जनरल मुशर्रफ के जमाने में to have the devolution, but that was scuttled by the political class themselves because their power was short. I was just now talking to Hafiz Nami Rahman, Jamaat Islami के हैं हमारे दोस्त, Amir of Jamaat Islami. He's a popular guy in Karachi. And Karachi is, a place which is a symbol of bad governance in Pakistan. अब उसमें उन्होंने कहा कि जी 2010 से सिंध में 4.3 ट्रिलियन रुपीस आए हैं And he said कराची में अभी भी पानी नहीं मिलता लोगों को साफ पीने को, अभी भी सड़कें टूटी हुई हैं. So the question is that these kind of decisions, culture of greed and plus nalaiki and plus there's no effective local government elected as such. He was elected as a mayor, but he was shortchanged, and most of his supporters were asked to switch to the other side, unfortunately.
The governance problems are not easily solved. It requires sustained effort by not only the governments but also the people who are involved in governance. You need dedicated people. Local government empowerment is for example, mere jo chairman, former chairman, well, he's still the chair. At the end of August, he'll cease being the chair of the department. He's running for office यहाँ पे हमारे state में. तो मैं उसे पूछा Delaware, he's running for the office. So I had a long interview with him as to what he's trying to do. Like we are the the fourth richest state in America, Delaware, and we are ranked 37.
All the offshore companies are based there.
Exactly. Yeah, we are like a tax-free state, but we are 37 in education. It is simply unacceptable. I said, do you realize how can the fourth richest state be ranked 37th when it comes to education and also something like 16th in healthcare? And so we have to be at least in the top 10 if we have money. So, and for that, DC is not going to do anything. Trump is not going to do. We have to fix that locally.
Yeah, absolutely.
बिल्कुल और उसका लिए you need a public sphere जहाँ पे लोग can identify and discuss. So it will take time. So मेरा final question, sir, I know you have to go. मेरा final question ये है कि I think a lot can be solved in South Asia if there is not just ceasefire जो रह चुका है पाकिस्तान इंडिया के बीच में, but if India and Pakistan can work together for mutual economic benefit. ये geopolitics से focus. In fact, आपके जो पिछले बाजवा साहब जो जनरल थे, उन्होंने एक बात बहुत जबरदस्त कही थी कि we need to shift from geopolitics to geoeconomics. तो अगर if Indo-Pak relations are driven by say connectivity, driven by अब देखिए water treatment, water का जो मसला चल रहा है, if both countries were to prioritize economic benefit rather than other issues, cultural भी बहुत issues बन गए हैं, prioritize हो गए हैं. So what are the chances कि rather than मतलब आपकी अब इतनी तारीफ आपने कर ली आपकी डिप्लोमेसी ब्रिलियंस की, अब जरा वो घर को लेकर आए, bring the diplomacy eastward and try and use the same brilliant diplomacy and resolve this issue with India once and for all. It is, I think, it's like saying कि पैर में बेड़ियां दोनों मुल्कों के लगे हुए हैं और उससे पूरे खित्ते के पैर में बेड़ियां, you're dragging a heavy burden which is pulling you down on development. सोचिए आपके अगर कनेक्टिविटी हो जाती इंडिया की टू सेंट्रल एशिया थ्रू पाकिस्तान फॉर एग्जांपल, आपके पास ऐसे नए नए रोड्स बन जाते जो आके अंबानी बना के जाते बिकॉज ही वांट्स टू एक्सपोर्ट गुड्स टू सेंट्रल एशिया. सो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ बेनिफिट्स टू इंडिया पाकिस्तान हैविंग गुड रिलेशंस. जैसा साउथ एशिया इज इन माय ओपिनियन एंड असेसमेंट the least integrated region in the world, even less integrated than African Union now, which used to be far behind. Don't you think so?
Actually, you're talking to the converted. I was the first to start the track 2 with India. In 1984, I was editor of the Muslim newspaper. Yeah. And we organized the first track 2 with India during the days of General Muhammad Ziaul Haq, the military regime of martial law, the Muslim. And we brought in Khushwant Singh, Kuldeep Nayyar, Bhavani Sengupta, Pran Chopra, Rajendra Sareen, you name it. And also Lieutenant General retired Vora, who was the Vice Chief of Army Staff at that time. Unko leke ko 15 Indians aaye the and Pakistani se, and I had it in Islamabad in, I think it was April 1984. And this was the first time, with the blessings of the military government of the day, by the way. Log kehte hain na military is an impediment to India-Pakistan relations. Not at all. Ayub Khan signed the Indus Waters Treaty. Ziaul Haq had the maximum number of visits to India. 5 times he went in his tenure. General Bajwa, as you know, he's initiated the Kartarpur Corridor, which was a historic SCBM at the peak of the COVID crisis. And it opened up our border to them. So हमारी तरफ से तो बड़ा रहा है ये. हम अब इंडिया ने ये गलती की है they have, and that time, I was the first to write for the Indian press, the first syndicated Pakistani columnist, Times of India, Hindustan Times, and वो MJ अखबार था, The Telegraph. I used to write for them. उनकी तरफ से कुलदीप नैयर, भवानी सन गुप्ता, Pran Chopra, they were writing for my paper, The Muslim, and we had exchanges. Were normalcy, बड़ा अच्छी relationships थी. And I interviewed Mrs. Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, I.K. Gujral was a friend also, and so forth. तो ये इंडिया ने वही गलती की जो हमने माजी में की थी 80s 90s में. We had an ideological foreign policy, especially on Afghanistan, and we paid a heavy price for that. Now India, since Mr. Modi's arrival and RSS, has developed an ideological foreign policy, Muslim bashing at home and Pakistan bashing abroad, and it's just it's unending, unfortunately. And that ideological agenda of the RSS, which the Indian government is pushing, they try to demonize Pakistan, isolate Pakistan, weaken Pakistan, destabilize Pakistan. और ये जो BLA TTP को sponsor कर रहे हैं, so that has been a big failure, and the result is today India is isolated. You have a new assertive South Asia, जिसमें Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Maldives have a very sovereign, autonomous, democratic governments, and they are standing up to Indian hegemony. And China is not giving any quarter to India anyway, and India is now agreeing to go with that. And even the Americans are telling the Indians, China se bhi achhe talukat karo to cold. They don't want a cold war with the Chinese. So in this situation, I feel there is a room, because I feel that all of India is not just RSS. India mein public opinion hai. There are people like rational voices in the Congress, Arundhati Roy hai, other provincial state policies bhi hain. So we should still have an outreach. We should be talking to each other rather than talking at each other. But Indian attitude has to change. Or we have taught them a lesson. They tried twice, Pulwama, Pahalgam. They thought they could get away with it. They will not. We will not tolerate that.
अभी जो पिछले दो, I don't know whether you notice it, there was a lot of discussion. RSS ने भी कहा कि RSS number 2 to have dialogue with Pakistan, and there was this all chat के कोलंबो में, बैंकॉक में कोई track 2 diplomacy, track 1.5 diplomacy भी हो रही थी. आपके तरफ से कुछ ऐसा awareness है inside Pakistan that there are some efforts being made from within India to try and build a dialogue with Pakistan, especially given the crisis with जो Iran-Iraq war Iran-US war चल रहा है, उसमें I mean both India and Pakistan's economies are going to be hurt in many ways, whether the war ends now or takes a bit longer. So there is a lot of necessary common ground, including water treaties की जो बातचीत है. तो
साउथ एशिया के आपने ठीक कहा, लीस्ट इंटीग्रेटेड, ओपन कर रहे हैं बॉर्डर्स. जनरल मुशर्रफ के जमाने में देयर वाज अ टेस्ट मैच इन लाहौर. वी ओपनड अप द बॉर्डर्स फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम. इंडियंस आए, एक एक्ट ऑफ टेररिज्म नहीं हुआ. कहते हैं सिक्योरिटी रिस्क. And they loved being in Lahore, and they were treated like royalty by the shopkeepers, by the people of Lahore. Or in the old days, up to many कह सकता है, in the old days when we used to go to Delhi and go to your namesake Khan Market, I used to go to Bari Sons to buy bookshops. Books. Warm welcome मिलता था. Oh जी आ गए, जी पाकिस्तान से आ गए. And I mean, a lot of them were Hindu shopkeepers who had been migrants from Punjab, from Pakistan. So that bonhomie was there. But unfortunately, ये जो इन्होंने किया है ना, just people like the government in UP, other places, name changes, animus, that mindset has to change. And I think that mindset is not acceptable. And क्या result हुआ? India is now isolated. Even the Americans have ditched them. इतनी उन्होंने खुशामद की. They tried to be the country to counter China, and America has made its peace with China because they know they can't overtake China, they can't counter China, so they don't need to counter China. तो इंडिया कहाँ रह गया? तो मेरे ख्याल में willingly मोदी का भी एक quality है कि he also does a U-turn. I think that he's capable of doing a U-turn because this is his major term, and he can think outside the box.
See, one of the problems I think on the India side is that India may most recently foreign policy has become an election campaign for domestic issues rather than advancing in India's interests. Some of the foreign policy methods seem to be to promote Modi, promote BJP, to promote Hindu Rashtra and Hindu revivalism.
and
और
also promote Pakistan bashing. Sorry
हाँ
to say,
मतलब that is part of
Pakistan
it.
after 1990,
जी हाँ,
any elections after 1990, India has never been an issue. No India bashing. India bashing doesn't sell politically in Pakistan, but Pakistan bashing sells politically in India. That is
especially in the past. मतलब अभी तो you can't even make a movie, you can't watch 15 मिनट आप इंडिया का कोई शो नहीं देख सकते जिसमें हाइपर नेशनलिज्म का डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन ना हो.
देखिए जी, Dr. Saab, I always say that Bollywood has become the unofficial ministry of propaganda of the Indian establishment. वो तो हर चीज में
Yeah, especially with movies like Dhurandhar, right? But
yeah, exactly. वो
हाँ,
और they take and Raw is taking pleasure and
yeah,
pride कि हमने destabilize किया पाकिस्तान को, हमारे एजेंट्स ने जाके उनको ये किया वो किया. So आप देख लें. So that's
जी
why
हाँ.
their hyper nationalism
What
and feel good
I
makes them
what
feel
the
good.
point I was trying to make was that Jantar Mantar का जो protest हुआ है, that has signaled कि this politics has now gone beyond
Failed.
its हाँ खत्म हो गई उसकी use
Yes, I totally
utility
agree.
value. So it is, I think perhaps this is now the chance for देखिए, I think even Modi has realized कि next election में पुलवामा जैसा पाकिस्तान पे एक अटैक करके
Won't sell. See,
it's not going to work.
we gave them a bloody
Yeah.
nose. They know that
Yeah.
next time also they'll get a bigger bloody nose
So,
than
but-
time.
See, the problem with assumptions like that is that the narratives are so tightly controlled these days, especially in India, because हम लोग कहते हैं गोदी media है, so there is not any critical discussion in mainstream media. जो YouTube channels पे alternative media थी उनको वो block कर देते हैं. 8,000 से ज़्यादा उन्होंने after the Operation Sindoor videos where channels were blocked in India, accounts were blocked. So the even if जो international reality है that does not percolate down into the masses, so it is so but the fact is that I'm not getting a job. I have finished an MS in computer science. I am jobless for two years. उसको आप किसी भी तरह spin नहीं कर सकते. आप कितना भी टीवी पे give weird facts के मोदी जी ने जाके this all this talk about free trade
आपने
agreement.
डॉक्टर साहब बात की थी मिस्टर अंबानी की.
जी.
Dhirubhai Ambani, the dad of Anil and Mukesh, he was the architect of the IPI, Iran, Pakistan, India pipeline. Yes, don't forget that. And that would have been a game changer. But India backed out of that under American pressure. Then there's another one, TAPI, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India pipeline. This economic interaction, this is very important. And I feel that...
what I'm trying to say is कि उसका वक्त आ गया है, शायद वक्त आ गया है. I think उसका time आ गया है to revive those issues. Yes. And if the Modi government is unable to do, maybe somebody like you should step forward and be the leader.
I see, as a student of China ने क्या हमें हमेशा कहा है कि yes, Chairman Mao used to say talk, fight, meaning be on the same parallel tracks, दोनों काम हो सकते हैं. अब ये जो चाइनीज कहते हैं कि yes, you stick to your principled position. They did it on Hong Kong, Macau, but you also have other normal interaction, culture, cricket, commerce, whatever. So that can still continue, but it takes two to tango. Not that एक तरफ से आप bombs भेज रहे हैं, एक तरफ वो कह रहे हैं हम घुस के मारेंगे, then that won't work. So if they do something, then for their tit, they'll be attacked.
I think China के मामले में India has reversed its position. अगर आपको याद है, Jaishankar used to say that unless things are normalized in Galwan, we can't have normal relations with China. But वहाँ पे normalization नहीं हुआ. अभी भी border के issues हैं ही. But we have returned to now $160 billion का trade हो गया है. But anyway, Mushahid साहब, thank you very much for joining us.
Ultimately, Trump and Xi Jinping आपकी सुलह करा देंगे. They have a common convergence. G2 आ गया है. On Korea, on Middle East, and G2 also on South Asia.
G2
and they do not want new flashpoints.
G2 has become a source of very deep anxiety in Delhi, actually.
But G2 is a reality. And
it
G2
is becoming a reality.
To do a welcome U-turn.
अभी आएंगे ना,
certainly reciprocate.
September में आ रहे हैं, Xi Jinping is coming to the US. There will be some progress, hopefully, on that front.
I think so, they will be.
Yeah. Mushahid Saab, thank you very much for joining Conversation.
My pleasure, Dr. Saab. Keep up the great work. You are a voice of reason and voice of sanity and common sense from the United States of America. And we are very inspired by your example.
Thank you very
sir.
much, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you. Take care. Bye.
My pleasure as well.
तो सर मैं इसको थोड़े चंद घंटों के बाद यानी आपकी सुबह 9 बजे लग जाएगा ये। मुशाहिद साहब, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर जॉइनिंग
My
कन्वर्सेशन।
pleasure, Dr. Saab. Keep up the great work. You are a voice of reason and voice of sanity and common sense from the United States of America. And we are very inspired by your example.
Thank you
sir.
very much, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you. Take care. Bye.
My pleasure as well.